Don't waste any more of your time worrying about whether or not you are the bad guy to those narcissistic family members or those narcissistic people that you've been dealing with in your life. You are the bad guy. Be the bad guy. Embrace being the bad guy. Here's the thing about being the bad guy. In the Bible, Jesus was the bad guy to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, was he not? God is the bad guy to the devil, as well as to the atheists and whatever else are running around here on this earth. If you're not the bad guy to these people, then you are all things to all people, which means you're a bad guy to yourself. You're an enemy to yourself because you have no truth that you're standing for. It's better to be the bad person to those narcissistic people you have no business being with than to try to be all things to them and end up being a bad guy to yourself and an enemy to yourself. Let's talk. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Before I continue, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. In addition to that, I have a brand new life coaching program where I teach every day, Monday through Friday, live with questions and answers. My coaching program is live. It's not pre-recorded material. I am taking my time. I'm spending it with you each and every day. We are connecting. We're digging deep. We're growing stronger. We're breaking free of the narcissistic nonsense within our families, within our friends, within our jobs. So join me. And if you need one-on-one support, I will help you. Give me a call. It's all down below. All right. Being the bad guy. I wasted so much of my time with the narcissistic people that I dealt with back in California, trying to fix everything, trying to clean it up, trying to be the good person, trying to be all things to all people, because that's what I thought a good Christian guy is supposed to do. I kept showing my face in a situation with the family of people I had no business being with. Why? Because I didn't want to be the bad guy. I didn't want to be the bad person. I was so worried about that because I was taught that being the bad person is bad. Come to find out, we're all bad in this way. We're bad in this way that if we are not bad to somebody, then we go along with anything. We have no truth. We have no identity. We have no self-dignity. We just are going along with whatever. And if we're not careful with that Christianese message of be all things to all people, that's exactly what happens. We don't stand for anything. It's also written in the ancient literature of the Bible. Jesus said, "You're neither hot nor cold. And so I spit you out because you're lukewarm." You're not standing up for anything. You're agreeing with the narcissistic bad people, and then you're also agreeing with the light people, and you're in the middle. Jesus displayed for us what it looks like to be the bad person to a world full of bad people, because Jesus stood up for truth, just like you and I need to. So you're going to be the bad person if you stand up for your truth. Now, there's two different types of bad people in this life. Let's address this, okay? So there's not just one type of bad person. I think that the fear that we have as we look at the world is there's only one type of bad person. We forget that the world is divided into at least two separate entities, darkness and light. And if we look at darkness and light and we separate it into two kinds of bad, here's what we have. We have a bad element in this world that's chaotic. Chaotic, bad people. Undisciplined, unruly, bad guys, right? So this would be your thieves, your murderers, people who kill, steal, and destroy. They hate discipline. They don't want to be governed. This is real. This is darkness. This is chaos. By the way, this is represented in the very beginning of the Bible where it says darkness covered the surface of the earth. The real word there was not darkness. The translated word, the Hebrew word, meant chaos, undisciplined, lack of order, no order. That is actually, that represents a principle of people here on this earth. There are people who want to live their lives like that, undisciplined, unruled, ungoverned. You can find these types of societies. They exist. Third world nations, many of them are like that, unruly, undisciplined, take what they want. We deal with it even in our own country, okay? We'll call that darkness, and we'll call that one type of bad people, right? But there's another type of bad people. The other type of bad people are the bad people who stand up against that and stop that from happening. And we know that they're considered bad people because they get in the way of the undisciplined and the unruly, saying, no, you can't do what you want around me. Well, guess what? Automatically, they're the bad people to these bad people. Are they not? An image of this would be, practically speaking, let's say, undisciplined, unruly hooligan skateboarders, right? Adolescent skateboarders. And I got nothing against skateboarders. I have a skateboard. I like to skateboard, and I'm teaching my son how to skateboard. But I'm talking about these unruly, undisciplined skateboarders that want to go and they want to shred it up on someone's private-owned business property and scuff up all their stuff because they want to be undisciplined. They want to be unruly. Again, undisciplined. It's chaos, no order. They don't want any order. So they're going to mess it all up, maybe take out some spray paint cans and spray on the walls and the doors. Why? Because they're undisciplined. They want to be chaotic. They want to destroy something. We'd call that bad, right? Of course. The owner pops in one day, sees what's going on, calls the police. Police show up, corral those adolescents, take them to the juvie center for the day, lock them up. Well, now to those chaotic kids, the bad person is that owner. The bad person is the law enforcement. Those are now the bad guys because they got them. Do you see what's going on here? Another accurate image of this would be even in the local political climate. You had a chaotic element, undisciplined element that most of the world sat back and watched and said, that's bad. These people would go into neighborhoods and streets and light buildings on fire because they said, this is how we get our voice heard, by being chaotic and undisciplined and unruly. We won't be ruled. We want to be chaotic because this is how we're heard. Which, by the way, I personally believe is a bunch of baloney. Being chaotic and undisciplined and ruining people's property and lighting cars on fire does nothing except put people's lives in danger and cause all kinds of problems, which is what darkness wants. Those bad people want that, right? But then you have other people who stand up and they're ready to protect and defend certain private properties, right? And they stand in the way of those that want to burn things down. To those people, they're pointing at the people standing in front saying, you have no business there. This is our time of chaos. You're being bad. You're in our way and we want you to go down. Do you see what's taking place here? Two forms of bad people. Destructive, chaotic bad people, and a bad people who stop that. And this is what typically happens in your abusive relationships. Narcissistic people, abusive people that you manage to get involved with, which, by the way, if you get involved with narcissistically abusive people to begin with, it means that you have not yet fully learned how to stand up in your truth and accept being a bad person. Because if you were able to accept being the bad person, you never would have gotten involved with the narcissistic family or friends or coworkers or whatever. Immediately, you would have been like, I ain't hanging out with you. I'm not. We have nothing in common. I am your enemy, and you are mine. You'd stop narcissistic abuse right away the moment you recognize that. But as it turns out, you don't. Instead, you recognize it's off. You recognize it's not a good relationship. You recognize their hostility, but because of something inside you, it's, well, I better get along, right? I better be all things to all people. And so you try to befriend them. You try to do this, and you become an enemy to yourself. You become a bad guy to yourself because you're not standing up for your truth. You end up lying. You've become a liar in a way, lying to yourself. You're not honest. And really, the pain that you experience coming out of narcissistic abuse is trying to reconcile, not with the narcissist. A lot of you think, and I'm going to make another video on this. Let me know down below if you want me to make a video on this. But a lot of you think that you need closure from a narcissistic person. You want them to apologize. You think that their reconciliation with you will somehow make you feel better. It won't. Light does not need reconciliation from darkness. God doesn't need reconciliation from the devil. Jesus didn't need reconciliation from the Pharisees and Sadducees that put him up on a cross. You don't need reconciliation from the narcissist. You don't need closure even. If anything, you need reconciliation from yourself. Healing from narcissistic abuse is about coming back to yourself and saying, wow, I stood for nothing. I didn't stand for my truth. I was wishy-washy. I stayed in a bad relationship for far too long. I became an enemy to myself because of all the things I allowed myself to go through. I'm the bad guy to myself. Now is the time to step back and say, no, I've got no problem being the bad guy to those people. Listen, at this point in my life, I have no problem being the bad guy to those siblings and half siblings, whatever. I don't even call them anything. There's no relationship. That's how much of a bad person I am ready to be to those people in California. They're nothing to me. I will forever be okay being the bad person to them. I'm fine with it. Because if I'm not, then that means I'm in agreement with how they live their lives, and I'm not in agreement with how they live their lives. I never was, I never will be. And so I'm not going to pretend to be. And I'm not going to let some Christianese people tell me that I have to somehow be in agreement or play pretend to be loving and kind and be all things to all people. No way. I'm ready to stand as light against their darkness, even if that makes me the bad person. And I hope that you get that out of this message. Being the light to darkness will make you the bad person. Do you see that? So don't waste any more time worrying about being the bad person. You are the bad person. Embrace it. My name is Kevin. This is The Royal We. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying or if it makes sense to you. I hope it does. As I said before, I am teaching every day, Monday through Friday, live. You can get registered down below in the description box. Schedule a phone call with me if you need some help. Right now, I'm available for you. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We. Before I go, watch this video. Check it out. All right, this video is recommended by the YouTube algorithm, and I think it's going to be a great video for you to watch, so check this video out. I'll be back. Bye, everybody.